Hello, Julie.
Hello, my friend. Good to be here today with you.
So good to see your face today.
Same here for me. Yeah.
So I don't know.
We're talking April 23rd.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know what week we're on, but it's April 23rd.
Mhm. Yeah, so we're just coming off of, I don't even know what to really call Earth Day. Every day should be Earth Day.
Every day.
But I know that it was an important milestone that we've, as humans, been acknowledging this for 50 years as of yesterday's kind of marking point. And the thing that was particularly lovely was, for me, was all the postings about interesting things about the earth and nature.
Ew.
And I enjoyed that yesterday. And it's rolled in. I mean, people have been on this wave for weeks. It was really particularly nice yesterday, and then I'm noticing today, like, I love the posts that you did with those trees from above, and then you could hear them singing.
Wasn't that amazing?
That was magic. It reminds me of this young woman who I've become obsessed with from Sweden, named Jonna, who records ice singing.
Oh, tell me more about this.
So she is just beautiful to look at, beautiful to listen to. She is an artist, a photographer, and a musician. She sings beautifully. She writes her music. Just multi-talented young woman. And she has done recordings of ice in Sweden, near where she lives, that you can hear the ice as it is starting to go through the thawing and freeze thaw kind of pressure that builds up.
Right.
In ice. She uses recording equipment that allows her to capture that sound over a period of time, and it is almost like this hauntingly beautiful. To me, it sounds almost like whales singing. I don't know if you've ever heard the sound of whales singing to each other. It kind of has that, but then it'll get some really otherworldly sound that comes in. It's just like she's got an hour to a 2-hour raw recording of this that I've just become totally fixated and amused by, how she lives her life in northern Sweden, doing beautiful photography and making art and living just a really beautiful life in balance with nature. It's really
in balance, right? Because I'm listening to you and I keep hearing, connected to the earth and the ice. This is the music of the earth.
Yeah. And she does things like goes out to the ice, takes her saw, cuts a little ice hole, does a plunge.
Woo!
Talks about how this is good for your immune system. It's a life that is so different than anything I have ever done. And it's like dipping into her world is just this little guilty pleasure. Guilty doesn't even sound right. It's a pleasure that I have.
I can feel how inspired you are by this.
And she makes beautiful art and lives with her husband, who is also an artist. And, it's kind of like, it's like a fantasy come true. And, this is somebody who has been doing this for 10 years, really wanted this 10 years ago, entered a big move to northern Sweden from where she lived, where she grew up, but had a family connection to this part of Sweden, which is very remote. Had no idea how she was going to support herself, but did this brave leap of faith that I'll figure it out sort of thing. And I don't think it hasn't been all rainbows and, sunbeams. It's been, there have been big challenges, but I love her energy. I love her perseverance. I love her sense of know, fun. And
Isn't that following your soul's trajectory?
yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that what it's supposed to be about?
Supposed to be
Really
about.
spin we are doing on this planet. Yeah. We
So
really have,
maybe we can put a link. So
yeah,
everybody
I would
can
love
check
to
it
share. I would love to share that with folks because I'm very, and I'm very excited about somebody living their life truly with that intention
out. Right.
of what would make my, what am I here to do? What are my talents and gifts? How do I do more of it? And yeah,
What
exciting.
is my soul's purpose?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if this inspiration led you to a poem.
I have a beautiful poem that found me. Yes. And I'm very, first of all, I went on again as I discovered this poem. Then I really wanted to know more about the poet.
Right.
So I found a link to this poem again through, I love how things are sending me on these journeys. I went looking for one thing and found this instead. So this is what I was supposed to find, because this one just really, I mean, it was one of those, the first time I read it through, it made me weep. So I always know, oh, okay, this is a heart one. This is a heart.
Oh, a heart one.
Yeah. And so the poet, her name is Joy Harjo, Harjo.
Okay.
And she lives in Oklahoma. She is from the Cree, I guess it's the Muscogee Creek
Okay.
Nation. And so originally, her tribe comes from the southeast part of our country. But in the history of the Native people here in our country, the United States of America, those folks were forced out of their homeland and walked that long walk that we here referred to as the Trail of Tears.
Right.
So her folks were displaced from their homeland and now reside on Indian reservation land in Oklahoma. And so she comes from that multi-generational reclaiming, healing work of a displaced people within her own country, which is a very interesting place to walk when it's not of choice, but then this kind of becomes your heritage.
Right.
And so she is also one of those people who is an artist. The other thing that I found fascinating, she's the 23rd Poet Laureate of the United States and the first Native American woman to fill that prestigious role. And she takes that with much respect and much responsibility and feels that, sharing poetry as a ritual and poetry as every person's sort of entry point to capturing ideas, thoughts, wisdom, experiences that you may never have connected to, and inviting those into your life to transform and lead you to enlightenment. I just love the language she uses in talking about her art.
And I love this idea of an invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So words are something very precious to her. She comes from a mother who was also a writer, a songwriter. She writes songs, she plays instruments. She's written like 6 or 7 books. She's written specifically for children in addition to books of poetry. She has a memoir that she has written. Just a very multi-dimensional, talented woman, truly living her art and changing worlds because being brave enough to do that, into that world. And so the poem that found me is called Remember.
Okay.
I need my glasses.
You get your glasses. I will invite our listeners to settle in, take a few breaths.
Remember. Remember the sky that you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and giving away tonight. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind, remember her voice. She knows the origins of this universe. Remember you are all people and all people are you. Remember you are this universe and this universe is you. Remember all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember language comes from this. Remember the dance language is that life is. Remember.
Remember the moon. Remember the wind.
You know, I love the imagery of red earth and black earth and yellow earth and white earth and brown earth. And when we are out on the land and we're discovering the variations of color in earth, we don't start having these sort of preferences that decide one is better than, that one somehow doesn't belong, that like, you know, we don't do that in the natural world. We do that in a human separate from world. So I find that imagery very harmonizing and like remember, using the refrain, remember.
It's that image of you know, walking through the forest or nature and seeing all the colors and the feeling of all these colors are important and they make up the whole, and they're all beautiful and they all work together. What if we approached humankind when we walk through the forest of our human beings and our neighbors with that same remembrance.
You know, native traditions often speak of animals as being part of their tribe, being a member of the tribe, of the sort of the fox clan, the whatever, you know, the beaver clan, the, you know, the animals are pulled in as part of family, as part of, I want to learn the strengths and characteristics of this particular creature and draw on that as a strength that I want to walk with, I want to possess, I want to carry. You know, um, I love that these remembrances are like percolating and kind of coming through again on a different level, and that language is delightful for that reason. It feels connection. It feels connected. It feels like truth. It feels like remembrance. Yeah.
It's like remembrance, truth, connection. And what if we carry that forward instead of separateness and difference? Yeah. Boy, that poem just landed right here on my heart.
It's beautiful. She has a memoir called Crazy Brave, and it's something that I've got in my queue that I want to read, because it's I'm just really, again, somebody who I've discovered and read enough about that I want to know more. So it sparked curiosity.
Yes.
That staying curious thing, that seems to be a path that I keep. Stay curious. Don't, you know, there's too much wonder and wonderful things out there in this world. And there may be this other layer of something going on right now, but stay curious about all this other stuff that's for you.
Yeah, I have really enjoyed watching your curiosity and your willingness to follow that curiosity, even if you don't know where it's taking you.
Mm-hmm.
But to follow that path and stay on that journey, even into the unknown. Yeah, it's been a real joy to watch you follow that, and an inspiration to watch you follow that curiosity. Thanks, Julie. So lovely. Yeah, I'm just feeling it. It's just really resonating. And I'm feeling this theme of poems finding us with nature really wanting to be known. And the gifts in nature that we sometimes overlook, the sounds, the songs of ice cracking, the beautiful colors and how they all come together to form beauty. Yeah. There's something in the slowing down, Julie, where we've been busy and we've overlooked sounds and these sights.
You know, I've often heard of retrograde periods that happen kind of with the stars, and as being a time of like kind of going back to collect you where you may have gotten off course, or whatever. And this sort of feels like potentially this is a giant kind of, let's go back here and figure out some missteps or figure out some things you want to do differently.
Yes.
Collect yourself where you feel like you lost your best self, or you're, you know, lost a thread of who you want to be, something in that, and now like bring that forward. Like it's a reset in so many ways for so many of us. It's just a matter of being curious enough. To remember and vision something better.
And I've been trying to be thoughtful of what things in this slowing down do I want to carry forward that I don't want to forget about. But I want to integrate as part of my everyday life and the way I move through the world every day, not just in a forced slowdown. But how can I intentionally bring some of these gifts and these remembrances forward? Thank you. Thank you for the remembrance.
Yeah, and I will be sure to make sure you get the words so we can put it in the notes.
Great. And we'll add a couple links so people can get curious and explore on their own.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for bringing the curiosity.
My pleasure. Can't wait to see what you come up with.
Woo! All right. We'll see everybody next time.
All right. Take care.
Bye.